The last time Rufai, Oseni, and this RutusOddiri had a fracas or had an argument on top national TV, he blood you. In fact, he remained for one person to slap the other. He remained for Rutus, make he brutalize Rufai, Oseni. Most of them know what they talk about now. That time. And the matter will cause the matter. Make I put it like that. Nothing no matter. Because the bill said Rufai, they talk something will concern Tinubu and in policy. Rutus come outside. Say, Rufai, you are lying. How can you be lying to Nigerians? Are you okay? Why will you be lying to Nigerians on the national TV? Stop it, stop it. You dey call your colleague liar on top national TV. Omo, you blood you. Omo, now say Rufai take reply. Say, when they cannot defend themselves, they bicker. Now where I learned that English, bicker. That one don't go. But if I say they don't call their two to order now. Because another argument be one issue between both of them, but they can't use maturity. Come follow him. Rufai been talk say, look, Tinubu 1 year in office, he don't borrow half, almost half of waiting Buhari borrowed for 8 years. That's in pain Rutus say make you go do in research. He go do in research, he can't come back. And he come base in argument on the Naira-dollar exchange rate to prove his point. I no want to talk too much. I go just go straight, play the video for owner. So when I go understand as the thing take go. Then come to the comment section and tell me between RutusOddiri and Rufai Oseni, who is right? Because I don't understand. The same television station, two people they fight themselves. If that's one now APC, the other one now I don't know, obedient. They are two, they fight themselves inside the same TV station. I don't just understand, but make gonna help me watch this video. So when I go understand them, then come to the comment section and tell me who they talk through, who they lie. Has Tinubu actually borrowed more than half of what Buhari borrowed in 8 years, according to what you want to watch now? Watch it. I'm waiting for you in the comment section. Go watch.
Alright, so that brings us to Nigeria and just policy continuing. So my man Rufai, maybe it's the work of Zeus that I came into the studio today, because we have to talk about debts and something that you brought up on Friday, you know, saying that President Tinubu in 1 year had borrowed almost half of what Buhari borrowed in 8 years. Remember, I was a bit thrown off by that. I said, let me go back and look at the numbers, but just to recap, here's what Rufai said on Friday.
Nigeria are pretty much trying to block your fiscal deficit. When you look at the loopholes in Kenya, exactly what is happening in Nigeria. For us, we have taken more debts. That's why you see the DMO is saying that debt has increased to 121 trillion from the 7 trillion. What it means is that in 1 year, President Tinubu has borrowed close to half of what Buhari borrowed in 8 years. That's what it means, pure and simple.
Real quick, just if we go back, let's go back to 2015, right? And what President Jonathan handed over to President Buhari, just looking at data from the Debt Management Office. So external debt, 63 billion. Exchange rate of 196, you get 12.1 trillion. Do take a look at the dollar debt. This is debt as of June of 2015. Fast forward 8 years later to 2023, what Buhari handed over to President Tinubu, the debts, external debt went from 63 billion to 113 billion, which is a 70% increase. In exchange rates of 770, remember when Tinubu came into office, it was 440. He devalued the currency in order to bring liberalization to the exchange rates, and then it's been climbing since then. So at 770, you get 87 trillion. Now, a year later, the data that Rufai was looking at, look at that. The dollar debt is at 91.4 billion. So it went from 113 in June of 2023 to 114 billion in September of 2023, and fell to 108 billion in December of 2023, and then fell further. But take a look. Your exchange rate is now 1,330. So if you multiply, you get 121 trillion. And what Rufai said on Friday was simply subtract 87 trillion, what Tinubu met when he came in, minus from 121, you get 34 trillion or so, which is almost half of the 87 trillion that Buhari left office with. So you can see the exchange rate dynamics, and you can play with scenarios. If President Tinubu had decided to keep the fixed exchange rate of 440 when he came into office, Multiply that by the 91.4 billion, he would have 40.2 trillion, which would be less than half the domestic debt he met when he came in. It was 770 last year. If he had kept the exchange rate fixed at 770, instead of allowing a managed float for the naira to find its level, you subtract that, you multiply that 770 at that same 91.4 billion, you would get 70.33 trillion, which is less than 87. Now, if you want to go really extreme and go to the other end, remember when the naira was at 1,008 and was nearing 2,000. If the naira had gone to 2,000 to the dollar, that 91.4 billion would have been 182 trillion, and you would have been screaming, saying that in 1 year he's borrowed ×2 of what he met when he came in. If you look at look at exchange rates, the dynamics of a weaker naira, higher foreign debt burden doesn't mean you've borrowed more. It is the interest payments on your debts. Basically, if you borrow 1 naira at 440 and you don't pay it back when the naira goes to the dollar 1,130, you're paying back more. But it's the same $1 that you borrowed. But also the flip side of that is that your trade numbers look better. So our Q1 trade surplus was 6.52 trillion, 195% year-on-year growth from what we had in the prior year. But then also you have FAC allocation. So it's a multi-pronged thing. It's not just one story.
When you look at it,
from 87 trillion your domestic debt to 121 trillion, we racked up more numbers there.
Based on the exchange rates?
Yeah. So we racked up more numbers there. So when you go back on your books, is it higher than what you had before?
Well, it's value. Remember what you had
I know.
Financing debt.
So the question is it higher than what you had before?
In naira terms, yes.
Yeah,
but in dollars it's lower.
That's just it. So in naira terms, it's higher and impacts more of your books than what you have before.
But you don't borrow more.
Wait a minute. In borrowing more, the effect of the devaluation is what you're suffering, and that's what it's a debt.
But if he wanted it to look good, he could have fixed the exchange rate at 440 and got 40 trillion. That's what I'm saying.
If he wanted it to look good, he could have fixed the exchange rate. But when he floated the exchange rate, did you see the dastardly effect of when he's not able to even find a rate based on the 700 that said was going to be the fair value that the minister was saying?
The naira is allowed to find its value.
That's
what I'm saying.
Today you are still finding your value. You found it up to 1,900.
Fine.
Now you still find your value. And in the end, he came back and still started defending, which also hemorrhaged some monies, over $1 billion or $2 billion, part of your, what is it called, your reserves.
But he didn't borrow more.
So when you look at it, he has increased the numbers, and this is as a result of him being in power, and this is a result of being his actions.
The numbers are there, so everybody can see the numbers.
The numbers are
the
there.
dollar debt has gone down.
The dollar debt has gone down
because of the exchange rate
has gone up.
So he didn't borrow more than half of what the prior president did.
The numbers went up, and he accumulates the cost.
Very quickly.
Imagine a country where its citizens get to enjoy the road without this. Imagine a country where unprecedented fuel scarcity does not cause panic at the filling station. That is why Innocent Vehicles has embarked on manufacturing environmental friendly gas powered cars while still offering comfort, luxury and doggedness for the African roads. Innocent Vehicles, the pride of African roads.